Well, howdy there. Oh, get you a little straighter right there. I'm going to show how I prepare my food for my bees. So I got a whole bunch of these. We used to always buy big jars of pickles, and I would keep the jars and say, someday I might use those. So when I get done using them, I'll have this thing, a little bit of soap in there, and I'll just kind of go in here and kind of clean them real quick, you know, give them a little quick rinse, and then just let them dry. And I probably have about 20 or so. And then once they're done drying, I cut it into my bag of sugar. Sugar, sugar, dun, 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 dun. Honey, honey, dun. Just cutting it. So what I do is I buy these big 50-pound bags of sugar, because when you buy in bulk, I got this at Winco. When you buy in bulk, you get like a 5%. So if you're going to buy 5% off per pound, so if you're going to buy 50 pounds, now you're talking some moolah, right? A little bit, right? Every little bit adds up. So what I do is, I'll just take my thing here, and so you can see I got a bunch of drying ones over there, whole bunch of jars. I'm all jarred up. So yeah. So what I do here is get a little funnel. Excuse me for a moment here while I grab my little say hello to my little funnel. Yeah. So what I do is, now if I'm actually making sugar syrup, I typically just make 1-to-1 sugar syrup, and so I get a pot going over there. There's a pot, and big one. And so what I'll do is I'll take 8 cups, put it in there of water, bring it to a boil, full boil, and then turn that stove off. And then I'll put 8 cups of sugar, just regular old table sugar. They love it. Gives them that energy to get out, those honeybees to get out and fly around and do their thing all day long. And so I'll let that, I'll just stir in that sugar until it's clear. So I like it so that it's perfectly clear. I mean, it looks like water. And so what I do with these pickle jars is, when I buy a bag of this, I like to put it in these pickle jars and store them. I saw these little bugs I've never seen before. Someone else saw it. I said, "What the heck is in that jar?" And it was these little tiny bugs. They weren't sugar ants. They had antennas that were different, and legs that were different, and little tiny red brown sectional bodies. So they had like little round sections. An ant more straight. Anyway, so I took a magnifying glass and said, "What are you?" And I never seen bugs like that. But there was a lot of them in these empty jars that had a little bit of stuff, whatever, in them, and they're in there eating that. Of course, they leave their feces and whatever else in the jar. So I thought, So now what I do is I clean my jars, soap, antibacterial soap, and I let them dry, as you can see. Put them upside down and everything, and let them dry. And so once I get done mixing this, what I typically do is I take the sugar syrup, and I'll put it in quart mason jars, and quite a few of them, because when it's feeding season, when it's time to feed, you know, I want to have my food ready for those girls, and so I'll just keep on feeding them until I see there's plenty of food coming in for them, and because I'd rather let them do it themselves. If there's enough food around, enough flowering trees and stuff like that, I'd rather them bring it in themselves. The sugar is really to give them energy to keep the hive warm. It's to give them the energy to go out and have plenty of energy to fly around and do their stuff. And it's energy. So in the wintertime, if the bees have enough honey stored up to keep their hive warm enough and keep the queen's brood warm, because it needs to stay about 92, 93 in and around those brood and around the babies. They need to stay like that pretty much constantly. So they're vibrating, every night they're vibrating, and they're regulating that temperature, that 90-something degrees themselves, right? And so what a lot of beekeepers fail to understand sometimes, or at least some, maybe one, who knows, is that it's so important to have more than enough food in that hive than less of enough food. Because they can detect when they're getting low on food. They know. It's instinctive. Oh, we had this much, and now we got that much. Okay, half of you go out there and drop on the ground. And you lose half of your hive in a day. Or more. Because they're programmed to say their evolution has just done it to them, poor girls. And so always have plenty of food in there. Don't guess. If you think you're guessing, add. Right? This is my first season with bees through the winter. My first 2 hives in 23. I bought 1 box of bees and package of bees. I did a split in June of 2023, but I bought a queen. But I used my existing bees to make the split instead of paying $150 or whatever for, another package of bees. So I just paid the $50 for the queen, saved $100. And so those 2 hives got really heavily infested with varroa mite infections. That DWV and all the other viruses that varroa mites carry really did my hives in. And I would just see thousands every day dead towards fall, early fall of 2023. And I started to see that again with my new hive of last year going into fall. And I went into hyper mode, man, and just okay, powder sugar them constant, and just probably once every 4 or 5 days, powder sugar in them, trying to knock off the mites. I put a bottom screen board on, and so when I powdered sugar them, they would drop onto this panel that I put underneath the bottom screen board, so I can see how many mites were in there. And when I would pull that mite board out, there was, I don't know, 100. There were so many I stopped counting. So what I did throughout after that was I monitored my varroa mite board, and I kept seeing that count come down precipitously, just down, 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 as I would powder sugar. I did one treatment of what's called Apiguard, and in fall. First I powder sugar because I didn't have no Apiguard, and I saw the drop, and then I put the Apiguard in there. I didn't see as much drop as I did with the powdered sugar, but I still continued to see that. But what Apiguard does is it gets into, it actually penetrates the wall of the cap brood, and it can get in there and kill the little larvae and all that of the varroa mites. So Apiguard is really good. What it does is it stops the production. With the powdered sugar, it just kind of takes care of what's out already, right? What the Apiguard does is it penetrates those chemicals. It's thyme. Your plant, you use thyme, you put it, it's a spice. It's the oil. So it's the oil from thyme and the varroa mites, that smell, that, right? It's like acid to them or something, right? So it takes them out. Not all of them, but it dramatically reduced the population, the reproductive process of the varroa mite process. And so That saved my hive. Ah, ah. Right? And they are doing just amazing today. Today is a pretty nice day so far. Well, it's starting to cloud up a little bit, but I'll be going out there and giving them another check and seeing how they're doing today. I was out there yesterday, and they're doing really, really good. They're going out and feeding every day, even in the rain. Not as heavy in the rain, but when it's a half decent day, the pollen's coming in from somewhere. I got on my roof to look around my neighborhood looking for something that's blooming. I don't see nothing, so I don't know where they're getting it. Yeah, even orangish reddish on their legs, which is really unusual this time of year. Something's blooming somewhere, right? Blooming. So, yeah, 50-pound bag, whatever container you can get, make sure it's really sealed. There's something that's getting into my stuff, and that was weird. So I don't leave the bag. I mean, I probably could seal it tight, but I wouldn't trust it. So I'd rather just put it into my sealed jars that has a rubber thing on the inside, and I can get it pretty tight, and so they're not likely to get in there. And so there you go. Just thought I'd share my sweetness with you. I told you about the crow, right? Yes. It's a good thing they invented crowbars. When they did, the crows didn't have to drink at home anymore. I got some more. I've already said that a few times, but for some of you folks, this is the first time you've heard it. I got more down the pike. And so I think that's kind of it for this podcast. And if you would subscribe and thumbs up on me, I'd appreciate that. I got so many things that's coming down the pike here with beekeeping and many other things. I've got other things that I do. Emergency car repair, like when your car goes dead. I'll be having some plumbing, some electrician stuff, lots of stuff. And I even play a little music. So if you subscribe, leave me your name if you want, and I will sing a song dedicated to the name that you leave me, for whatever reason. You know, you got something that you want somebody to see, you want to dedicate that song, a particular song to somebody. You can go on my playlist and you can see what songs that I sing. Now, that's the small amount that I sing. I'm going to have a lot more different songs coming out, but you can select one of the songs that's on my playlist that you would like me to dedicate to whatever name, and as more songs come down the road that I sing, they're going to become much more proficient. That was just on my cell phone. I'll throw the cell phone here, sing it out. Yeah, I'll be setting up my music system, my recording sound system soon. So anyway, getting sidetracked from the sugar stuff. That ain't sweet sometimes. So you have a good day. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I appreciate it. Have a good day now.